And Joaquin now has the floor. Let's give him a hand. Thank you.
Well, thank you for coming out. Thank you for your hospitality. This is my second time here. It's a beautiful, beautiful town. I was telling someone earlier, it's very photogenic. I mean, looked great on film. Show of hands, who's here because you love or you have an interest in film? One person. A few people. Okay, a few people. Who's here because of your love for Hartsville? Okay. Darlington County. You could be multiple of these. Major Coker's legacy, his life, his name, business, education, and culture. Excellent. Who's here just for lunch? Free lunch. Okay. Oh. Well, it was over a lunch that Will and I met in Raleigh through a mutual friend. This was in November of 22. It's been a bit. And it was not until February of 23 that we came down here, my first time, as a, kind of an exploration, and for me, an inspiration to see the sites, the locations. We visited a number of places to walk around prior to embarking and writing the script, the screen adaptation. My son, who was also a filmmaker in his own right, and I came that time and walked around, as was referenced before, and we asked some people about Major Coker and why the university was called Coker University, etc., including even someone at the hotel that we had a presentation in the Coker room of, I think it was the Hampton Inn or something like that. And the receptionist didn't even know who Coker was, and there's a room named after him.
Okay, can you talk a little louder?
Absolutely. And so this is a problem. And to quote, the I guess it was Apollo 13 astronaut, Hartsville, we have a problem. And people are disconnected from history. Young people in particular are disconnected from our heritage, their own history, our nation's history, true history. And this is a problem. Alluded up there, those who won't remember the past are bound to repeat it, Santayana said. And so we can do something about that. In film, these what-if stories are always fascinating to me. They kind of be like a cautionary tale. What if Major Coker had never existed, never lived? What if he had never done what he did? I'm reminded every Christmas, millions of households watch It's a Wonderful Life. Maybe some of you all. And it's the story of, as you know, George Bailey. Excuse me. It's a very inspirational story. It's a what-if story. And Bedford Falls would have turned into Pottersville, as you know. And that was not a good place to live. Had he taken his own life, had he not had an impact in Bedford Falls. Now, that's a fictional story. Well, James Coker's life is a real-life story, and Hartsville is what it is because, in great proportions, because of Major Coker, as we all know. He had a lasting and real-life impact in this town, and also in the county and in the state. And actually, in the world, just take Coker University, 1,200 students every year, 30 majors, 25 minors, over so many years. Sunoco, 22,000 employees worldwide in 30 countries, products in maybe 90 countries. So a tremendous impact. I actually personally don't know anybody who started a business that's now in 30 countries. Or reaching 85 countries or 90 or whatever the number is. So he's had a tremendous impact. And the world, I agree, needs to know about this man's story. It's a fascinating, extraordinary, and inspiring story. So when Will and I met, we discussed this. And I told him from the get-go, I don't know that I'm the right person to write a story. My name is Joaquin Fernandez, right? I'm not from the South. I'm from the South, but down south. My father was from Spain. My mother was from the Dominican Republic. I grew up in the Dominican Republic. Now, English was sort of my first language because I was born in Miami, Florida. And the first 6 years of my life I lived down there. But first grade through college was in the Dominican Republic in Spanish. But sometimes it takes an outsider, and I'm not pretending to be an expert in anything at all. But sometimes an outside view is refreshing, can be refreshing. But I told him, I said, I don't know that I'm the right person to write something that has to do with the Civil War. I mean, I didn't study that. But if I can find something, because I wouldn't be passionate, but I can't sell something that I don't believe in or that I don't know enough about. So I told him, but if there's some sort of modern day narrative that I can kind of tell that story through, then maybe. And so anyway, long story short, here we are. And the script is complete. And we're going to go into that in a moment. But, you know, films are very powerful. It's a very powerful medium for change. It could be societal, personal. And I truly believe that. I think that this town and this county, there's some scenes in Charleston as well, and the state can be shown to the world in a new, fresh way through this story. But most importantly, this life, this legacy of this extraordinary person can inspire young generations that are coming after even the current young generation. We want to inspire the next generation to understand the importance of and consider the lessons of history. Like I mentioned before, Santayana said, those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it. We know that quote. The second part of that quote is less known. It says activity. Listen to these words. Activity does not consist in velocity of change, but in constancy of purpose. I'm going to read the whole quote now. Those who cannot remember the past, so many of our people, are condemned to repeat it. Activity does not consist in velocity of change. Being busy, the digital generation, you don't even have to be young to be a victim of this. Things moving so fast in society. It's crazy. It's exponential. AI, let's not even go there. But in constancy of purpose. And so I think Major Coker's life is a perfect realization of that. So our film will indeed tell the life, the success, and the legacy of Major Coker's life, but we will do so by engaging younger audiences through a modern narrative that sets up and provides a canvas, as it were, for that historical narrative. Why?
Joaquin,
Yes.
why don't you just move the podium up several feet toward us and then we can hear better?
Sure.
Since you're not tying the laptop like I was, just come on up.
Sure. Well, this is good.
Pardon me, go ahead.
No, absolutely. I think I feel like I'm shouting, but maybe I'm not.
We're old.
Okay. We all have gray hair here. Most of us do. What? So why do this? Why tell this important story, a historical story, through a modern day narrative? Because it would be very hard to pitch the following film. This sounds great, but it's kind of a hard pitch. The film recounts the life of Major James Lloyd Coker, a multifaceted figure, businessman, merchant, industrialist, Christian philanthropist, and Civil War veteran. He founded Sunoco Products and Coker College, or Coker University, and earned the moniker the Major following his service in the Confederate Army. It's not an easy sell nowadays. So this is the log line. The log line is a term that we use in the film world for like a super short synopsis. And this is a concept, and then we'll go into it. We're not going to read the script today, obviously, but I'm just going to walk you through Acts 1, 2, and 3, kind of. But this is the log line. Amid the aftermath of George Floyd's death and the societal unrest of 2020, a diverse group of college friends, right here, is thrust into a journey of self-discovery as their protagonist, one of the students, struggles to produce a stage play about Civil War era entrepreneur Major James Coker, whose legacy touches all their lives. So we'll go into that now. But that is something that that story is relevant to today. And people can identify with different factors of that story. But it's a way
not a gimmick exactly, but it's a way to tell the historical narrative through the modern day narrative, and we'll see how. This, by the way, will have this film and the character, very strong characters, very well developed three-dimensional characters. Some of them are one strong character. It's not the main character, but one strong character is an African American male who works at Sunoco. Now, when I say these things, these are all fictional things in the modern day. It's all completely made up. So when I say he works at Sunoco, obviously he doesn't work at Sunoco, but so this character works at Sunoco. He's an African American. Is the half brother of this biracial female character who's a student there, sociology major, and with a minor in dance. And she is the girlfriend of our protagonist. Jacob is his name, who is half South Carolinian, half Jewish, or from his ancestry. So these are very strong characters. And there's a fourth character, his name is Juan, who's Hispanic, and he is sort of like a comic relief character because he's also a theater student, but he does stand-up comedy on the side. And you can get away with all kinds of things through comedy. So comic relief on the one hand, but also pointed social commentary on the other, which you can get away with by making people laugh.